I'm John Mollon. I'm Director of Studies in Psychological and Behavioural Sciences at Caius. Psychology in Cambridge is taught as a biological science. You may have been drawn to psychology because you're interested in psychopathology or in differences between people, but the really interesting thing is the normally functioning, healthy, young adult brain, which does such astonishing jobs effortlessly for us all the time. All that's passing between me and you now are compressions and decompressions of air, and indeed, on the way, they're being encoded in just ones and zeros to be transmitted over the internet. And yet you can translate, I hope, my words into meaningful structures in your head in real time. So in the first year of the course, you do 3 core courses in psychology, one on social and developmental psychology, one on neuroscience methods, and one on experimental design. But one of the attractions of the Cambridge course as a whole is that you have great choice, many options, and in the first year you can take a paper, you must take a paper in some other subject. In the second year there are 2 core psychology courses and then 2 options. And then in the third year there's a really rich range of options. By the time you've become familiar with the subject, you can go in many different directions. You do some psychology papers, but you could do criminology papers, philosophy papers, so on. One of the splendid things about the third year is you do a research project, and because Cambridge is an international centre for research, you may find yourself in a world-leading laboratory doing your research project. So why should you come and study psychology at Caius? The subject is small in Caius. We take only a small number of entrants each year, and that means you'll get personal attention and you'll be supervised by senior academics for much of the time. I certainly personally teach the course topics in the first and second years. I find it feeds back into my own research. And just from time to time, some undergraduate makes a point in a supervision that changes my whole view of a particular topic. In Caius, we don't require you to have studied psychology at A-level in order to apply to read PBS. Most colleges do require biology or maths or both, and we indeed place great weight on those 2 subjects. And we place weight on other scientific subjects too, such as chemistry or computer science. But Caius is unusual in that it does occasionally admit candidates who've studied A-levels in the humanities. If you're interested in applying and those are your qualifications, then just write to our admissions office. In general, neither the pre-admissions test nor the interviews require knowledge of psychology. Like several other colleges, Caius has a pre-admissions test. Don't let that put you off. The main task in this pre-admissions task is to read an interesting topic, non-technical on some general subject, and to write a short summary of it. And there's a reason for this test, because if you get into Cambridge for the next 3 years, every week for your supervisors, you have to write essays on disparate topics. And the pre-admissions test gives you a chance to see whether you enjoy doing that and gives us a chance to see how well you get on with it. The interview itself, there'll be 2 of them, and again, doesn't require any pre-knowledge. Just get a good night's sleep, because what we're trying to do is simulate a Cambridge supervision. We're trying to discover whether we can lead you along. If initially you make a mistake, whether we can lead you to see what the correct answer is, and so on. And that's what the Cambridge supervision system is all about. If you complete the PBS course in Cambridge, then you're qualified for postgraduate training in clinical psychology. And many of our graduates do go into different branches of clinical psychology. Some every year go into research in neuroscience or in social or developmental psychology. But many of our graduates go into the media, the civil service, commerce, different branches of management. In requiring you to write all these essays over 3 years, we've been training you in taking disparate information from different sources, assessing it, imposing your own organization on it, and delivering a summary of it to someone else. And that's a very fine training for almost any profession. And that's what Cambridge is about.